Hey, episode 64 of the Nashville Artist Podcast is out, and it features Angie Lese. Angie is a drummer, tarot reader, and previously a meteorologist. She talks about her journey going from meteorologist to rock and roller, a can basher who learns from listening and drawn to the live show experience. Taking notes from lead singers and using that behind the kit, her dream gig is to play drums for Alanis Morrisette. Her dream venue is to play Red Rocks Amphitheater. She's a determined workhorse who's fun and a team player, going beyond the role of musician to manager, merchandiser, and career builder. She talks about the struggles of being a queer woman in the music industry, overcoming setbacks, gatekeepers, and having a whatever-it-takes mindset. She's played with artists like Raylan Nelson Band, Taco Mouth, and the Dead Deads. Her advice to artists is to go out and find your tribe. Treat everyone with kindness and respect, knowing the money will come if you're good at your craft and good to other people. Also, send encouraging words to artists can go a long way. She has her own Foo Fighters cover band called Fingernails Are Pretty and an original band called Lips Speak Louder. You can support her by following her on social media, buying her band merch, and going to her shows. Her favorite drummer is Taylor Hawkins. Influences like Joan, Jett, Prince, Whitesnake, The Breeders, Alanis Morrisette, AC/DC, Foo Fighters, Veruca Salt, 9 Inch Nails, Lord Huron, Bully, Yeah Yeah Yeahs, Garbage, Paramore, Morgan Wade, Pink, and The Offspring. Enjoy the episode.
I have a bunch of stuff to do. Sometimes I manage bands, and so I was kind of prepping for a phone call I got with this one band I'm managing right now. But we got a Zoom call tonight, so prepping for that and
That's
waking
awesome.
up. Yeah.
What band is it?
Fame and Fiction.
Fame and Fiction.
Yeah, local band, kind of half out of Murfreesboro, half here.
Okay.
Yeah, sextet. It's got 6 players, so it's pretty cool, poppy kind of
Really?
dancey stuff. So
Wow.
Yeah.
And you are just managing them right now?
Through their album cycle, they're coming out with a EP in January, so I'm helping them through that.
Nice.
Just because it's hard for 6 cooks in the kitchen to get anything accomplished. So that's
Right.
my role.
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, we'll get started here.
Okay. Cool.
Hey everyone, welcome to Nashville Artist. I'm Jordan, and today Angie Lese is here. Thank you for coming over and doing this.
Thanks for having me.
So, where are you from?
I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and most people probably know that as the home of Sweetwater Studios. So that's where I was born in Northern Indiana, but I grew up there and call it home. So.
Nice. Do you have any siblings?
I do, yeah. So my parents are divorced, so I have an older brother that lives in Indianapolis, and then a stepsister is a year younger than me. She lives in Michigan, and then my mom had gotten remarried at one point, and I have a step family from that side, and then I have a younger half brother who's 30. He'll be 30 in January, so yeah,
Wow.
lots of kids.
Wow. Are they also into art and music?
Not. I mean, they're creative, all of them,
Creative.
but not really into music anymore. My brothers played saxophone, and my sister could sing. She's got a great voice, but other than that, no one's practicing anymore.
What kind of, you say creativity, what do they do that's...
Well, my sister was a hairdresser, so she's kind of into that, and into interior design, that sort of thing. My brother's an architect,
Wow.
so he's very creative and can draw things really well. And my younger brother's just into liberal arts, kind of into like reading and like history and that kind of stuff. So like he's creative in that sense.
That's cool. Do they all live in Indiana?
Well, two of them do. My sister lives in Michigan, but they're all pretty, like, we're all fairly close. I'm probably the furthest from, but yeah.
Awesome. What about your parents?
They're all in Fort Wayne and Indianapolis, so like pretty close,
Are they creative or?
Um, they're like smart, and I don't know if creative's the right word. Like they're meticulous, I would say. So like my dad's into computers and stuff like that. My mom's very like organized into like she like they're both retired and like are trying to get back into work because they hate not working. So I don't know. Yeah. So I don't, like they're just workaholics. I don't know if they're like really creatives,
Right. I got you.
Yeah.
More analytical.
Totally. Yeah. And I'm analytical, so I probably get it from the combination of both of them.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm also very analytical. I think it's a drummer kind of thing.
Yeah. If you're good at math, you're probably decent at drums, or vice versa.
Yeah, or you just like consistency and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So
we obsess over analytical things.
That's true.
Okay, so like when you were a little kid, what were you into?
Oh man, so I was into Legos because my brother was into them.
Oh man,
yeah. So I was really into Legos growing up, and just like I loved like swinging and riding my bike, like just kind of like kids do. So really into that stuff, and like I really loved coloring, and I still do. Like once in a while I'll bust out a coloring book and just like kind of decompress and color. But I think that's good for me.
Yeah.
But like I'm still like I was really into coloring when I was a kid, so that's kind of stuck with me. But yeah, I had like Barbies. I was kind of into that for a little bit, but like I was really into sports growing up.
Oh yeah, what sports?
I played like t-ball and then softball, and I ended up playing volleyball too. So like I was just like pretty athletic and good at sports, but then music started taking over like later in like my junior high years and on. So I played flute from like 5th grade on.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I was really good at that.
Wow. So yeah, I was going to say, what first got you into music? And
well, like my best friend in 5th grade wanted to play flute, so like I did too. Like that's how that dumb thing began, and like so I started playing flute and kind of like fell in love with music then, and was really like meticulous at rehearsing and like practicing and stuff. So I got really good at that, but like I always wanted to play drums. There was just something in me that drew me to them, and I never really had a chance to play them until my uncle. On my dad's side, my uncle had a music shop or ran one, and he had a drum set in his basement. And when the family was hanging out one day, I just went down there and I could just sit down and play. So like I could keep a beat, and like because of that, like the girl my uncle was dating at the time, she was like, "Man, you kind of have some skill there. You should look into that." And which was nice. So like hearing that kind of made me pursue drums eventually, but I didn't start playing until like college,
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I initially went to college for flute performance, which what are you going to do with that? Like,
You need another Jethro Tull.
I guess, yeah. I had a scholarship for this private school, and then like decided to pursue a different career. So flute kind of like went by the wayside, and then like while I was pursuing this other career and studied, that like I picked up drums on the side and just tried to start teaching myself. I took a few lessons here and there, you know, and that kind of grew into what it is now.
Did you like get into reading drum music?
I could read music because of flute,
right,
so I knew how to do that. But when my first few lessons were just the teacher would just, get a book, flip the page, and play that. And I'm like, well, I can do that myself. I can read. So I never was really taught like proper technique. I'm a can basher. I just I learned by playing along to songs. And so the way I play is just bad habit over bad habit learned over several years, So that's just how I play, like how I learned to play, almost teaching myself and just playing covers,
Yeah. Covers. So, like in elementary school, like other than just like I want to play flute because my friends are playing it, or whatever. What music did you like during?
So I like my dad like had a bunch of vinyl, so like he helped kind of like unintentionally like help grow like my love for music, and I was really into like Joan, Jett, and Prince, and super into Prince growing up. And like embarrassingly, it's a lot of the '80s hair bands, but like not embarrassingly too. Like I love to this day, I love Whitesnake. They're one of my favorite bands.
Oh
So
yeah,
I was super into them growing up.
Bret Michaels.
Yeah, and then like maybe not so much him. But yeah, like I was into like anything that had like a pop groove to, or like just like was easy on the ears. I really liked that stuff growing up. So I loved pop music growing up. So like I was kind of a product of the '80s, like popular stuff. I really liked that music. And then my coming of age years were the '90s. So like when I don't know, like when Nirvana came out, but like the Breeders, like that kind of stuff. We had this great alternative rock station in Fort Wayne, of all places, and they played some great songs, and like that really piqued my interest. I like that. I loved like the early '90s alternative rock. So once I started hearing more of that, I'm like, damn, like I really want to pursue drums, you know.
Yeah.
So that music really got me into drumming.
Like grunge and all that.
Yeah, and like some like Taylor Hawkins is my favorite drummer. Alanis Morrisette is my favorite artist. So like when she came out of the like a canon in the '90s, like I was hooked, and that was my first concert ever.
Wow.
And I remember sitting in the grass in Indianapolis watching that, and just like being completely blown away by her, but also just staring at Taylor Hawkins the entire time. And like after I left, I just knew I was going to do music someday. So that was a really pivotal night for me, you know, seeing Alanis Morrisette. So that I think that moment was really the one that kind of ignited my pursuing like music, even if it was on the side, you know.
Right. How old were you when you saw Alanis Morissette?
Oh God, how old was I? I was in high school, so like kind of dating myself here. So it was like '95, I think, when I saw her play. And then like it's funny because a couple of years ago in 2021, she had her 25-year anniversary, Jagged Little Pill, and that tour. So I got to see that in the same venue that I saw her 25 years prior. So that was pretty freaking cool. Am I allowed to swear or should I not?
You can say whatever.
Okay, cool. Amazing. So
did you stand in the spot where you?
It wasn't. No, I had better seats this time around. But it was just magical, and like Garbage open, and they're one of my favorite bands. So like the 1-2 punch of Shirley Manson and Alanis Morissette is pretty amazing. But you know, I got to see Alanis with Taylor Hawkins, and then you know, second time around, 25 years, almost to the day in the same venue. It was pretty it's magical.
That is magical, and you're like, wow, I remember myself then, and now we're now.
Yeah. When I was just a wee kid, like wanting to play drums, and now like, you know, not too far. Like, you know, someday obviously that would be the dream to drum for Alanis Morissette, and like I don't really think that dream is too far off. You know, I don't think it's unattainable, but like it was just kind of a cool like full circle moment. You know?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Why would you say you're drawn to music?
I think just like maybe growing up around like, you know, because my dad would spin vinyl all the time. We'd watch VH1 sometimes, like growing up in an environment like, you know, that was really nice. But I wasn't like really around players so much, you know, musicians. So it wasn't really that. I think like just, I don't know, right timing, like growing up, you know, in your like 13 to 17 year range, like when you're like trying to figure out life and yourself. And like, that's when music was hitting so hard. And like the '90s, like in my opinion, are the greatest years for music. So like, at least for me, because it made such an impact. But I mean, it's an outlet. It's a creative outlet, obviously, and that's, key to surviving life sometimes. But I just have a knack for it too. I think I'm just like here to play music, so I'm kind of drawn that way because I think it's part of just my, like, I'm supposed to do that. It's my purpose. So, yeah,
that's awesome. You talked about Alanis Morrisette, but who are some of your other favorite artists of all time?
Of all time, Prince for sure. He's up there. I love AC/DC. They got a formula and they always have, and like they're one of the best like bands that have ever lived, and everything they put out is so good. So Paul
Rudd holds it down.
Oh yeah, and I think he's one of the most impactful drummers too, because it is so it's just steady, and like when you can get the crowd to move at the same time to your beats, like that is way more impressive than like someone like double kicking through an entire song like Big Whoop. Like that is unlistenable to me sometimes. So
right,
and not like shitting on everyone. I play double kick too, but like there's a time and place for it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessary all the time, at least not for the music I like. My ears like steady beats, like, can you get the crowd moving? Because there's an energy that I really like about that, and that I'm drawn to. So I really that's how I like to play, like I want to get the crowd into it because I'm feeding off them. I want them to feed off me. So music that does that, I really like appreciate and gravitate towards. So like a lot of people with hits, like Prince, you couldn't go to a Prince concert and not have fun, and I really like, so I grew like the Foo Fighters are one of my favorite bands. I have a all femme like Foo Fighters tribute band. So tattoos of Taylor Hawkins, the Hawk.
Rest in peace.
Yep. Yeah. So like Alanis, Foo Fighters, Veruca Salt, Garbage, like 9 Inch Nails. A lot of the early '90s bands, the Breeders, like they're some of my favorite bands, and like. If someone tries to get me to listen to new music, it's very hard for me to like, well, does it sound like anything I already like? Because I probably won't like it. But so I'm kind of a stickler to like that. But it's very hard for me to like new music. But I like some indie rock stuff, like Lord Huron. I really dig, and yeah, I'm into Bully, like the local artist. Like, I mean, not local because she's like a big time artist, but like. Everything she puts out is fucking great. That's just some of the Yeah 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 is one of my favorite bands of all time. They're so good. Artists like that I really like.
Nice.
Yeah. Good mix.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have like you said probably Alanis Morrisette would be like your dream gig?
Mm-hmm. Alanis. I would say Foo Fighters, but I don't think anyone should have that gig after Taylor died. So, I mean, if anyone's going to have it, I guess like Josh Freese is killing it.
Yeah.
But it's just it's different for me now. Like, I'm grateful that, that seems like a full circle moment for him because I think he finished second to Taylor originally for that gig in the 90s. So it's his gig, but I also think the songs are going to change, and that's okay. Bands should evolve. That's good, but for me, like, I'm not ready to see that.
Right.
So that would be, I would like to sit in on a song with the Foo Fighters one day, but I don't think I want that gig because that is too much pressure, I think. Like Garbage, I would love to play with Garbage someday. And there's some other acts in like different genres too. Like I think, if Paramore's drummer ever left, he's an idiot, but like that would be a killer gig. I've been like some like country artists. I think there's this one girl, Morgan Wade, who's like kind of making a splash, but like her band's a rock band, and that's what I like about that. Like that live show is so great. I really like that. I play sometimes for an artist, Kaylee Shore. She was a country star turned like pop punk artist. I love drumming for her. once she gets more music out, like that would be cool to work with her again. You know, but like, yeah, dream gigs, Alanis, Morrisette, Pink, Foo Fighters, maybe. It's a lot of pressure. And I don't know, man. Like I forget everything when the Offspring, I think that'd be a great gig. That'd be fun.
Prepare to play fast.
Yeah, I would say I'm a punk drummer first and foremost.
That's
so
awesome.
like that would be very much in my wheelhouse. That'd be fun. But
play some Blink-182.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that role is probably never going to open.
Yeah.
But the Offspring, like that role did open up. They switched drummers, like during all the pandemic. So there's a possibility there too.
Speaking of Josh Freese, I remember watching a video of him just sitting in for Travis Barker when he was like injured.
Oh, yeah,
it's like, of course, Josh Freese plays everything.
Oh, he can play anything. Yeah,
he's like the Vinnie Colaiuta of our generation.
Played with Nine Inch Nails, and like that would be a killer gig too. But he can play. He can play anything.
Yeah, so. He's like a studio drummer, that's also really good at live.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you develop your artistic skills? Do you have routines and stuff? Or?
I should. I should have more. Most of the time, like, because I'm a hired gun drummer, right? So I have, excuse me, I have my Fingernails Are Pretty band, my female Foo Fighters tribute band, and then I have this new band I started with Rachel from that band called Lips Speak Louder, and we're kind of new, but like seasoned musicians, but new band. So like other than those two projects, like everything else I do is hired gun. So most of the time to like develop my artistry, I'm mostly learning people's songs. Like if like last week or just this past weekend we had like a Fingernails Are Pretty gig, so like I don't have another one until like March, so I don't have to worry about the Foo Fighter songs for a while, and so now I have to focus on the original band, so I'll just like play those songs ad nauseum, until like every muscle in my body knows exactly where it's going. So like that's kind of my routine. Like I have like very basic warm-ups, but mostly I'll just play the songs I'm supposed to play for work and play them until like my body knows them, and just because like I won't ever be the reason why a show sucks. Like I won't ever, because I put too much work into it, and I don't want to be. Like I want to be good. I want people to call me for work,
Sure.
And I'm really responsible in that sense. So like I don't know if I'm developing anything more than just like a stronger work ethic, which I already have.
That's awesome.
So I don't know if I'm necessarily getting better. I'm just like, I can play longer nowadays than I could before. So like I can play a 3-hour set if I had to. I'll be tired, but I can do it. And like I would say like that's probably how I'm developing my artistry and can play longer, I think like my wheelhouse is broadening too. This past year I played with like a metal act, Americana acts, like country acts, pop, rock. So I've kind of played the gamut of music this past year. So that always helps develop like my technique and stuff, because like that surely needs work, like my just like maybe more gracefulness and technique I could probably use a little bit of. But if the gig that I'm on calls for that, then I go to work on that. But if it doesn't, I'm like,
right.
I'll have an opportunity to practice it some other day.
Yeah, that's cool. Everything is applicable then, always.
Yeah, totally.
You're like, this is what I have to practice. This
right.
is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and like, if there's downtime, then that's when I can just like go woodshed some, like I've got some like books I'll like run through rudiments on and stuff like that, but like only when like I don't have stuff to do really, and that's kind of rare. So
nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
What would you say inspires your creativity?
Oh man, I think honestly like playing with different people, I don't want to do the same thing all the time. So I think like it's necessary for me to stay inspired to play with different people. I think that's really important for me. So like it's fun to have a couple bands that I have created and I'm like a part of, but I really like doing the hired gun stuff. It's challenging. It's exhausting to learn like 150 originals in a year. Like it's hard to do that even if you're only playing a couple shows. Like it's tiring. But I think like that keeps me inspired. Like, man, I really like this person. I don't, for example, like I might work with someone that I don't love their music, but they're a really good human and I want them to succeed. I'll be like, yeah, like I'll play your music, I'll do that for a couple gigs. And that's inspiring to see them like to help put on a good show with them and like watch them grow a little bit. So I really like to be in a helper mode, I like to help people. So, I think that's inspiring too. When I see like a band that I really care about, if I can have any part in that, then like that's important to me. I think that keeps me inspired. So
yeah, diversity and just knowing that like as soon as you practice this, you will be playing it live.
Yeah, and that's the goal. Like the tour and beyond. Like at least for me, like a lot of people don't want to be on the road. Like I want to be on the road all the time. So like if there's a weekend run or a couple weeks here or there, I'm like, sign me up, I'll do it. Like that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
So that's inspiring.
Always on the road.
Yeah, traveling and like waking up in a new city every day, like that is super inspiring to me. I think that's really fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that most.
Awesome. What would you say are your strengths and weaknesses as an artist?
Strengths, work ethic for sure. Professional, like, I don't do drugs. I barely drink, like like I'll show up knowing the material. I like to help. I'm very much a team player. So, I don't think there's a harder worker or more professional worker really. Like I really put myself in the top echelon of that realm. And now as far as like talent goes, it's just the drumming. I feel like the live show is where I shine. Like I've done studio stuff and I enjoy it, but the live show is kind of where I shine just because like not that I'm doing anything that other drummers can't play, but there's just a different energy that comes from me. I think that people seem to gravitate towards, I guess. So I think that's a strength of mine. Um, and if it is like original music, a strength of mine is supporting the song. I think I write pretty good drum parts that help support like the song overall. Yeah, weaknesses probably like, I don't know, like when you're a hired gun, sometimes you go after like the money here and there rather than like what's true to your heart. And I think that's a weakness of mine. Like if I follow my heart, I'm most happy. And like, I would say that for anybody. But there's sometimes I take gigs where like, I don't really want to do it and I do it anyways. And then I regret doing it. So I think that's like sometimes like choosing money, like a gig opportunity or money over what I really want or what my heart really wants. I think that might be a slight weakness of mine. And I feel like this is a regular job interview answer that people say, but like taking on too much work, like that that I do a lot.
Yeah, it can deplete you.
Yeah.
Spreading yourself too thin.
I do that.
Overwhelm you.
I do that all the time. I am always tired. I am always spread thin. I do it to myself. I think that's a weakness. But I'm admitting it, so that is a strength.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I can do too much, and then I'm like, why am I so stressed out? Oh yeah, this is my own doing.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's probably my biggest weakness where I probably do need to pull back a little bit and be a little more choosy. Like I have like I would say this for anyone, like you should be choosy about the stuff you take because it can reflect on you, like so yeah, I think like I would recommend that for anyone.
Yeah, being choosy.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, so how would you best describe yourself as an artist? The type of artist you are?
A workhorse. Determined. like, you know, it like, not to go off on too big a tangent, but being a female in the music industry is difficult. And like, also like sometimes being queer can be difficult too. So I've had to like, you know, if an equivalent drummer that happens to be, you know, straight white man showing up to the same gig, like people will immediately respect him more, you know, and like I have to work 10 times as hard to get the same respect, you know. It's just the way it is and it sucks. But I think like I don't let that stuff, you know, like I can go home and complain about it, or I can just work twice as hard and prove that I belong just as anyone else does. And so like that's where my determination comes from, because like there's a moment where you can see that, because I've had a career in science where, you know, I was very much outnumbered, and I'd walk into a room about to give a talk on something I knew a lot about, and you know, I can just see the faces like, this is gonna suck, you know. And like by the end I'm like, no, like I can see it in their eyes when they finally change, and like where they're like, oh, she knows what she's talking about. I live for that moment, you know. So as far as like my artistry, I think like, you know, like I don't like I won't take shit, and like I'm pretty determined, you know.
Yeah.
So like I live for that moment of like really like gain people's attention and respect, you know. Like I really command some respect. and like I just think I'm fun too. Like I know like I'm very professional and workaholic and all that, but like I'm fun too. Like you're supposed to, music is supposed to be fun, and you're supposed to like create this cool stuff with your friends. Like that's the goal, to like be on the road with people you love, and like, you know, play an awesome rock show so everyone can forget about their shitty days, and like just like for a moment like release everything. So like I think like I'm fun, you know. Like I like, you know, I think that's, you know,
Letting
just
loose.
kind of part of like, yeah, part of my overall, you know, artistry, I would say.
Yeah,
you know?
whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes to get the job done,
Whatever
but
it
to do
takes.
it well and to have fun doing it. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. That's kind of my
Okay.
vibe.
Sick. So how long have you been in Nashville now?
I've been here since 2012. So like over 11 years now. And I moved here from Louisville, and that's kind of where I got my start drumming, in Louisville. So I used to be a meteorologist. That was my like career.
Wow.
And I moved here for a job at the Weather Service office here in Nashville in 2012. And I did that in Louisville too. But like, so I moved here for my other career. But, you know, once I moved here, I started immediately getting into the music scene. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, so 11
Meteorologist.
Years. Yeah.
Were you ever a storm chaser?
No,
Oh.
I don't have a death wish. I've seen enough tornadoes to know that like I think they're beautiful. I am intrigued by them. I studied them, but I don't want to be near them.
Good Lord, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that was like one of my biggest fears as a child.
Tornadoes, yeah.
Tornadoes.
It was one of my biggest fascinations growing up. I was like as fascinated with weather as I was music, and I chose weather. So like I have a master's degree in meteorology from Purdue, and did that for 15 years before I resigned, because music was kind of taken over here. So I left my fancy bougie career behind to be a slumming musician, you know, like the rest of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so I've lived here 11 years, and I think my first gig in Nashville as a Nashville resident was like a couple months after I moved here. I just saw someone needed a drummer to play some covers for an hour in Clarksville, and it ended up being 2 hours. They ended up calling a bunch of like audibles. I'm like, all right, I don't know this stuff, but let's do it. And once I did that, I'm like, okay, I get how it works down here. So just started playing more and more on the side, and like started a band that was doing really well, and left weather for that. And so like now it's just the hustle game. Like,
what was the band called?
The Dead.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I was one of the founding members of that, and left that gig in 2017. So I did that for like 3 years, maybe. It wasn't long, but we did a lot of cool stuff and it opened a lot of doors. So that was kind of my first experience with touring, working with some major artists, and like co-writing with people. Like we had Paige Hamilton of Helmet produce one of our albums, which was kind of, loved Helmet growing up. So that was kind of wild. And like, it just got me on cruises. It got my name out there. And now, like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I used to be in the Dead. Like, yes, that's fine. But like, I have hopefully like grown past that. And like, and no offense, just like that was one tiny chapter of hopefully a very long music career, So everything is like a stepping stone to grow and like move forward and like find your own path. So like, that's, that gig was the one that really started my music career, I'd say.
The Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Did you play with them like as soon as you got to Nashville? Is that where
so I met the singer through a mutual friend in the weather service. He was, she used to be a hairdresser, and like he was getting his hair cut from her, and like he hooked us up. And then, one day I was like, do you just want to like start a band? Like, and so we eventually did in 2013. Like, I think Halloween 2013 was our first gig. And then from there, it just like, it grew fast in 2014. And like, we were on a national tour by November, and like kept getting, like, we did really well in 2015, 2016. So those are some fun years, but it was I was still working for the weather service. So it was hard to balance like a management job. Like, I was a manager in my office and like the office trainer. So like I had to go to work and like focus on like being a professional, meteorologist, and then
being a rock star,
and then trying to be like a rock star, I guess, on the weekends. And it was a lot. So, leaving my career was a really good choice for me, but also like, bands come and go. You're supposed to evolve. So like that gig was good for me for a little bit, but like, I think they would say this too, like I kind of outgrew that, and it's like, and I don't take that time for granted, that was a really good time for me. But it just opened so many other doors leaving, and then I was able to like start my own band with one of the other Dead's members. So we were in a punk band called Taco Mouth. Then I was a hired gun for other people like Raylan Nelson, was Willie Nelson's granddaughter. I played with her for a few years. And then like just this last year, I've played with like 13 different artists, I think. So like, it's really expanded my, just like, one, my wheelhouse, and two, like my network, I know a lot of people and it helps. Like, so when I start my own projects or like jump on another gig, like I might know someone at that venue or the booker or the booking agent or like their manager. Like I just know a lot of people now because of like, the industry is very small.
Right.
Yeah.
And your network is your net worth.
Exactly. That's what they say. Cash in on that soon.
Right. So what would you say is something you've learned living here? And I'm sure you've learned a lot.
That you don't like treat everyone with kindness, because, you need to be able to hang, and you might be at a coffee shop and sit next to like a 65-year-old man, and he might strike up a conversation with you. And that might be like the owner of Warner Records or whatever. I don't know who owns that, but like, it might be someone of like industry significance, or like you might just get along and like they might know someone. Oh, I heard this person needs a drummer. You just don't know. So like, always treat people with kindness in town. Well, anywhere, but I would say that, and like treat everyone with respect too, like, which doesn't always happen in this town, I've learned. It's very much a dog eat dog kind of industry, unfortunately. And I think what I've learned is Nashville is so competitive, and that's stupid. Like, this is an artistry. Like, music is a creative arts, and like there's room for everyone. And like, if you want to churn out the same country song on country radio every month of your life and make billions of dollars, fine. There's room for that. But like, no, thank you. I want to make stuff that I care about
Right.
more than like the money's going to come if you're good at your craft and you're good to other people. You know, it'll work out. And like, and I firmly believe that. So like, what I've learned living here is that like, just treat everyone with kindness. Almost don't fully trust anyone until you really get to know them, and like follow your own path. You know, like don't just. It doesn't matter what other people think. You know, you really just need to like, yeah. I would just say like do stuff that's true to your heart instead of what everyone else thinks you should be doing. I think that I would follow that advice. You know.
Yeah. And be careful whose advice you take from.
Yeah, like yeah, definitely like gather all the information, take it home, meditate, you know, just any like if someone comes up to you like shaking their fingers and they're wearing a suit jacket and they're like, "Hey, I can make you a star." Like probably call bullshit on that, you know, but like take it in, be nice, go home, meditate on it, you know, and you know, you'll figure it out.
Right. Do you have a favorite venue here in Nashville?
Oh God, I have several. The first venue, well, the first venue I played at was Mad Donna's upstairs before like it became, I think it's a Cinco's now over here on the east side.
Huh.
You remember Mad Donna's? They used to have a Bloody Mary bar every Sunday. It's pretty tight. But like I was in a band from Louisville and we tried out for Nashville Pride and we had auditioned in their upstairs in their attic, you know, and got on Pride, which was pretty cool. But that was the first place I played, so that has a little special place in my heart. But my favorite venue is the OG Basement. It sounds great down there. It's a vibe. It's fun. It's one of the first venues I played at too, so that's got a special place in my heart. Lipstick Lounge, tiny little stage, but it's so fun to play there. And oh man, there's so many. Like I love the Ryman. I would love to play the Ryman someday. I haven't had that opportunity yet. And I mean, God, there's just so many. I used to love Exit In, but now there's new owners, so I don't really know how I feel about it yet. I haven't played. I'm like maybe like just like loyal to a detriment possibly, but yeah, I like that. I liked that venue and the Basement East, of course. Like you know, I love like Dave Brown and Grimy and everything they do. So you know, they're friends of mine. So I like any venue they open up, I'll like, you know, like I don't know, I like several. The Five Spot's one of my favorites. I think that place is fun to play. The East Room is super fun. Like, I don't know. There's just so many. I've played a lot of venues in this town.
Do you like the Blue Room?
I love the Blue Room. So I would love to play a show there. And I just saw Emily Wolf there like a month or two ago, and Brandy Zidane. And that was a killer show. 2 killer guitarists on a show at the Blue Room. That place is freaking cool.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. Yeah,
it's a vibe.
It is a vibe. It is a very. I don't know if I'm cool enough to be there, but
yeah, I feel like I'm in like a James Bond's villain's lair.
Yeah,
like it's sophisticated,
yeah,
suave, but
yeah, I'm cool, but not that cool. So I don't know if I belong, but I really like it. I like that place a lot. So
yeah,
the goal is to get on a show there someday. So we'll see.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
What is some advice you'd give to someone who's going to move here and do art or music?
Oh God. Move here, have a savings account because you're going to go through it. Yeah. God, if you can find some property to buy and you can afford it, do it. Man, like you have to just get out. You've got to go out. You got to go to shows. You got to find your tribe, you know? So you got to go to shows. You got to find the music you like. You have to find the people you like, and get along with. And you have to be cool. Like, don't just go like, I wouldn't recommend someone show up and be like, hey, like, here's my card or whatever, like people do, like, call me, I'm a drummer, I'm looking for a gig. Like, that's not how it works, like, you cannot schmooze that way. You have to like go to shows. Like if you like a band, tell them, like tell them afterwards, like, hey, when's your next show? I'll come to the next one. Like become friends with people and be like real, like be very real in your networking. And I think like that develops into like just a community. If you can find that community, then you're going to find work, but like I would say like people should do that. So when you get out and like want to meet people and network and try and get into the scene, it takes time, like there's a lot of like, man, I met some guy last week where just my new band Lips Speak Louder played New Faces Night at OG Basement. Like I've been a musician for like 20 years now, like I've toured the world, like been on cruises, I've toured Canada and the US, like I have a resume, I don't lead with it, but we played New Faces Night because we're a new band. We're not new musicians, but like I felt that was appropriate to do that. And he had some little kid in there. I mean, he must have been 21 at least, but he had a long suit jacket on. It looked like it was his dad's because it was too big on him. And he had like fancy shoes on. And he walked up to the bartender and said, hey, who's the booker in this joint? And I was just like, oh my God, no, don't do that. Like the bartender's face said it all. And if that guy had a clue about how to like hang and be cool and like network, he would have known like that was immediately the wrong thing to say.
Yeah.
And just so uncool. Like
I like a hot shot.
Oh God, it's the wrong city for that. Like, yeah. I don't think that works. Like, you're like, this isn't an 80s movie.
Are you trying to intimidate the person? Is there a problem?
I don't know how he could have intimidated anyone with that getup anyways. But like, I mean, and like, he can do what he wants. But like, I was just insulted on behalf of the Basement because I was just like, well, who is this character? Like, so I would recommend people don't do that. Like, don't go in like guns blazing trying to like make a big impression. Like, be cool, stand in the corner, observe. Like, if someone looks cool, they play well, tell them that afterwards. Like I like your freaking vibe. Like, you crushed that. Like, I really like what you did there in that song. Like, be complimentary, be cool, make friends, and like from that, you're going to build a community. You're going to build a network. Just it takes time, but like people can smell the bullshit on you from a mile away. So
the
newbies, man, like don't come in, like
wait your turn.
Yeah, and like there's room for you, but like do it the right way, because there's a lot of people that have, like no one knows who I am, but like there's people that know of me, and like there's a few newbies that have come to me and acted that way. I'm just like, man, you're barking up the wrong tree. I am not going to help you, because like I can book bands in this town. I can like recommend indie labels, or like I can recommend guitarists for bands or whatever. But I don't want to help people that are just in it to be like, hey, like, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And that doesn't work that way here.
Yeah.
I mean, it might, like in like the big time country world, but like
or Broadway.
Or maybe God, look, I played Broadway one weekend and like it was a good experience, but I will never do it again. Just won't. It's not my scene.
Yeah, you deal with the hecklers. Play this song, play that.
Yeah.
Smile more, do this,
like,
do that.
I will not play a Morgan Wallen song. I won't ever. Like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I don't know. If more people said no to that, like there would be a better, like maybe more musicians would be respected, and like, I don't know, just stand up for what you believe in. And yeah.
Definitely. So reflecting back on when you first started as an artist, what is some, like, one of your biggest challenges you've had to overcome, and how did you get through it?
I think honestly one of the biggest challenges is just because I'm a drummer, like doesn't mean that I can't, be a big part of the band and decision making. Like I have like legit management experience, so like I can really bring a lot to the table. And like sometimes I think drummers are called dummers for a reason. Like I think a lot of people just are kind of expect them to sit in the back and like do your thing, but like I can contribute a lot. So I think what I've learned, like I don't have to just sit back there and play the songs. I can contribute to a band, and I've got good ideas, and I can really help a band grow and move in the correct direction. So I've kind of discovered that about myself, that like I want to be a part of a band. I like doing the hired gun. It keeps my chops up. It keeps me inspired, but it also is maddening when I can just show up, play the songs, and leave. I don't get to help with merch. I don't get to help, like, well, do you need a social media post? Like, should we, like, do you have enough merch for the next show? Like, I want to help, like, artists go, like, go. Like, I want them to climb, and I think I found that about myself. So that I can, like, I've learned that it's okay to be, like, a part of a band and do it that way. I really like to help. So I've discovered that about myself. I think I've discovered that maybe I'm better than I think that I am, which I say very humbly. There's, I guess, like, it's okay to have humble brags here and there. It's okay to know what you can bring to the table. It's okay to have confidence. I think that a lot of women in the industry struggle with that. We apologize before we stand up for ourselves, and I have found, like, the opposite is good too. Like, it's okay to walk in a room, know that you are a professional drummer, like, you can offer a lot to someone. Like, it's okay to walk with that confidence. And I think I've learned that being here. Like, yeah, I can hold my own against other musicians in this town, and, like, I think that's good to know.
Stand up for yourself.
Yeah, like, and like I said before, like, there is room for everyone. So, like, I'm not drumming anything that any other drummer in this town can't do. It's like we can all do the same stuff pretty much. But, like, what sets me apart are the things that I need to make sure that I have at the forefront and elevate. And I think it's okay to walk with confidence in those avenues of myself that, like, I haven't always done. Like, it took years to learn and, like, be able to accept compliments. I think it took years to be able to, like, accept and receive. So I think I've learned that too, that it's okay to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very self-aware when someone, pays you a compliment. It's like, say thank you, like,
Yeah.
don't, reminisce or ruminate on it too much.
Yeah. And then, like, it's okay if a bunch of people tell you, like, great job, like, like, sit back and just be grateful that you're in a position that you get to bring some light to someone's life, and you're doing what you love and you're good at it. Like, these are all good things.
You only go up from there.
You only go up from there. Exactly.
Okay. What would you say is one of your biggest personal growths from last year to this year?
Well, I guess if I'm being honest, like, it's in a sort of along the same lines, it's okay to stand up for yourself. So, like, I think over the past several years, I got lost a little bit, by no one's fault but my own. Just kind of like in a in a happy marriage, just, but, like, kind of pigeonholed, like, not going out as much, not going to shows, not really, like, really focusing on my musical path, not really, like, working too hard at that. And I think I lost myself a little bit along the way, because I'm supposed to be on the road. I'm supposed to be on a big stage in front of people. Like, I don't care if I make $100 that night. I want it, like, I'm supposed to play in front of lots of people. That's how I feel in my gut every day. And I lost that path, the past few years. So I think over the last year, really, like, going through some tough stuff, like, I'm more on my path now than I have been. And because of that, there are more opportunities coming my way now. I've had a lot of gig offers that I wouldn't have thought of before, and from, like, some big time musicians too. So I'm, like, I think I'm like finally finding my path again, So I think that's, like, the biggest, like, personal growth I've had the past year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So how can people support you as an artist?
Of course, like, you know, most artists hate the social media. Like, it sucks. And we all know that. But I think part of the support is like going and liking some, following their Instagram, like following them on TikTok, like that kind of stuff is helpful. Following the bands I'm involved with, like that is helpful to me and everyone involved. If there's merch of artists I play with, like, you know, buy their merch, you know, stream their music, buy their music, even better. Like that's always really nice. And like checking in too. I think it's been a tough several years on everyone, but you know, creatives mostly. And you know, like if someone can appear like they're tough and everything's going well, but like I think like checking in with people is really important, you know. So I think that's a form of support, just like, hey, how you doing? Looks like you're busy, you know, like good for you. Something like that goes a long way in someone's day, I think, especially in sensitive creatives' lives. Like we're all so damn sensitive that like that goes a long way. So something like that is very supportive. And of course, like if someone does hear of a gig, like, oh, I know a drummer that might be looking. Like one thing I found is a lot of people think I'm busy, maybe because I'm good at social media, but like I'm not that busy. Like, no, like I'm never too busy for a text or a phone call. Like, hey, are you too busy for this gig? They're looking for a drummer. Like I love referrals like that. I appreciate that. So that's a form of support too. Like any kind of referral is really nice. Even if you think I'm too busy, like I'll decide that part. um, yeah, I think that's, you know, supporting on the socials and like, you know, if you hear of any gigs opening, like that's the kind of cool stuff. Or like if I have a show, like come out and say hi, you know, like that would be lovely. You know,
Yeah.
I like that kind of stuff too, because I like to try and go and support bands. It's tough to do it all the time, but like there's free shows, there's ways to do it, you know. So yeah, I think actually going to shows and supporting that way is really important too.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if you had a Patreon page or anything like that.
I don't.
Could pay you money or whatever.
Yeah, well, I had started one for my, like, I have a side tarot business. I read tarot, and I'm bad about promoting it. I'm bad about doing it. But I like, that's a way to support my music career is reading tarot. So people can buy tarot readings from me. Like that would help, you know. That kind of stuff is nice too. But people are struggling too. Like I'd rather they come to my shows than, you know, than anything. You know, that's a huge help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How do you consume media? Do you like YouTube videos? Do you have any favorite YouTube you like to watch or?
Once in a while I'll watch YouTube. I'm a sucker for convenience, so like I mostly stream on Spotify and stuff like that, you know. If there's a band I like or discovered and they have a band camp, I'll download their songs that way to give, you know, to pay for that, to give the artist most of the money. But like, yeah, most of my media consumption is like Instagram, Spotify, and like old episodes of Family Guy. Like that's about it.
I gotcha.
You know, or Seinfeld, you know, watch that too.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, as far as like taking in new music, it's like I want to either be there or I'll stream it, you know.
Or like, I don't know, like some people watch documentaries on YouTube or something like that.
I'm bad about that.
Movies or anything like that.
Yeah, I love documentaries and I love movies, but I'm just bad about finding time to, you know, like I know a lot of like my musician friends, a lot of them are like, man, have you seen this show yet? I'm like, no, like how many shows are you possibly watching at one time? It's impressive. But there's some people that'll name off like 10 or 12 shows. I'm like, how? How do you have time? Like if I'm not doing music, I'm thinking about it. If I'm not thinking about music, I'm thinking about like work or money. If I'm not thinking about that, I'm trying to sleep. Or like, it's hard for me to find time to relax. That's just, like I said, like I'm a workhorse, but so like I don't consume enough of the chill time, I don't think. Like, but also like if I have downtime, I'd rather like I'll go on a walk instead of watching TV.
Sure.
So that's kind of my thing.
Or I guess more asking like when you do watch stuff, or like I'm guessing you probably watch Taylor Hawkins drum videos or anything like that.
Oh, you know what? Honestly, more people send me that stuff than like I could go and seek out on my own anyways. So I would say like once or twice a day, someone sends me a reel of Taylor Hawkins or Dave Grohl. So like I consume a lot of a lot of that just through Instagram reels,
That's true, yeah.
But like, yeah, I'm not good at like there's drummers that will go and consume YouTube videos on drummers, and I'm not one of those. Like I'm more like I'm not a gear nerd. I don't obsess over like how people have played certain parts necessarily, but I'm more about like the live show and the emotions. Like that's what moves me. Like being there and seeing sweat drip down their faces, like really like get into it. That's what I like to take in, just because you feel like a part of it. And
Yeah.
I think that's where I really can nerd out is like at a live show, like I'm analyzing everything. Yeah. That's kind of where my analytical mind comes to play, and if there's like something that catches my attention, like, that's why I like the Yeah so much. I think Karen O is like the greatest front woman. Like she's so incredible. And they have killer songs. The drummer's like a jazz drummer, but like they play punk music sometimes and some indie rock. So like it's an interesting collab, but like I'm watching her the whole time. I'm trying to memorize I think like I like to channel lead singer energy in my drumming. So like I'll take notes on drummers or on singers for my drumming. And then like, but once in a while I'll hear a really cool drum part. And then like I will go back and listen to it and like try and recreate that, steal a part of that for like my original music, like I'll use everything I do is just copies of or iterations of, mostly Taylor Hawkins or Dave Grohl licks that I've learned before. Even Trey Cool, I think he's a fantastic drummer. Like any kind of cool beat like that, like or that they can generate, like I'll try and learn and maybe apply oh, I just learned this drum beat. This would be cool in this part of this new song that I'm writing with someone else. Like that kind of stuff. Like I'll consume medium that way or media that way.
Cool. So. Well, is there anything you would like to add that I might not have asked you about?
Maybe not, but just I don't know if people want to support, I have my female Foo Fighters tribute band, Fingernails Are Pretty. People could give that a like. That would be cool. And in my new original project, Lips Speak Louder, that's just a rock duo with me and Rachel Bransness. She's in a band called Flare Light and also in the Fingernails band. So pretty excited about that project. And of course, whatever project comes along my way that I'm a hired gun for, that would be cool if people liked that as well, because that helps everybody. So
sure.
Yeah.
What was one of your favorite shows you've played, or biggest show?
One of the biggest shows I've ever played was my old band opened for Evanescence when they came back after a hiatus, so that was pretty cool. It was like a sold out show at Marathon. That was really fun. I play some rock cruises. I got to play the motorboat cruise that Motorhead put on before Lemmy died, right before he died.
Wow.
And this was 2015, I think, the fall of 2015, and there was a hurricane in the Bahamas, and we were cruising and watching Motorhead and watching Lemmy just couldn't stand up to the mic. He was swaying all over the place. I was getting sick. I saw 2 songs and I'm like, nope, I'm going to go lay down because I'm going to puke. I don't know how he got through it, but he died I think 4 months later, something like that. So it was that was one of the coolest experiences to see Motorhead before he died, on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean where there's a hurricane. That's pretty badass.
Yeah.
That was cool. And The Pride festivals are really fun. I played with my punk band Taco Mouth in Indianapolis a couple years ago, and like we opened, like technically opened for Lizzo. Like we were the last band before she took on the stage, and that was freaking cool because we had like a few thousand in the crowd, but then like when Lizzo played, there were like 100,000 people in the crowd, so it was that was massive. That was cool. Yeah, and like I've gotten to play some cool shows, like with Kaylee Shore a couple years ago. We toured with All Time Low, but that was like a thrown together tour, and it was incredible how fast we put it together. Like we found out on a Thursday night we were going on the road. We had to be in Canada Saturday, but this was during like where Canada wouldn't let you in without COVID tests. So like we had to wrangle a van, make sure we had all of our equipment. Two of the members had to fly to Calgary. Two of us had to like get the van, drive it, make sure we had tests, COVID tests within the 24 hours of us getting to the border to make sure we could cross into Canada. And someone had to update their passport, so they had to like, it was a mess. But in like 3 days, we put this tour together and then went on the road with them for 2 weeks. That was really cool. I was super proud of us. And all like, I was also like tour managing that. So that was too stressful. That's an example of burning the candle at both ends. Like just drum, you know, you don't have to do it all. But that was super cool. We got to play like, you know, some really cool venues. And I think the Orpheum in New Orleans, is that what it was called? I don't know. Really cool, creepy venue down there. That was awesome. Yeah, just really fun. Like I've gotten to do a lot of fun stuff. So I've done some shed tours before, but like, you know, I'm hoping for the stadium tour someday.
Yeah, play Bridgestone Arena.
Yeah, someday, like
Staples Arena.
Yeah, like
Madison Square Garden.
Like I want to play Red Rocks.
Red Rocks.
I want to play Red Rocks.
Bonnaroo.
I want to play the Pageant in St. Louis, a smaller venue, but I love like I've seen like I saw the Strokes and Eagles of Death Metal there back in the day, and that was such a killer show. I want to like, and I want to play. Yeah, Bridgestone would be freaking cool since I live here. Like someday, that'd be cool.
I sometimes do event catering, and we've done work for Bridgestone Arena, and like it's amazing to like get down there like 6 a.m. and watch them build the whole stage.
Oh, I bet.
And you see all the famous people come through, and I just like stand in certain green rooms, and I'm just like, some of my favorite drummers have stood in this room. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, you just feel it.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite shows was seeing the Foo Fighters at Bridgestone after Dave broke his leg. You know,
I was there.
Yeah, that was cool because afterwards they had a private party at the OG basement, and my buddy was running sound there, and he was like, "Hey, favorite, like you love the Foo Fighters more than anyone. Like you need to get down here, and I'll let you in." I'm like, "All right, cool." So he snuck me into this private party, and where I think Superdrag was playing. And it was one of the producers of the Foo Fighters' wives' birthday parties. And so, like, after they played Bridgestone, the Foo Fighters showed up. And, like, you know, an OG basement where the men's bathroom is, there's, like, a railing there. So I was standing on the railing or at that elevated area watching Superdrag. And someone sidles up right next to me, and they're, like, bopping their heads along with me. And I look up, I'm like, oh, that's Dave Grohl. That's weird. And then he went and peed or whatever he did in there. But I didn't say anything because, like, I was just like, oh, shit. That was cool. And then, like, Taylor Hawkins was there, but I didn't bug him. Yeah. So, but it was just cool to, like, go from that Bridgestone, seeing them into this tiny, like, cramped room and just next to everybody.
I'm standing next to him.
Yeah.
Absorbing.
I know, yeah. Like, I just wanted to, like, look back and be like, I'm glad I didn't bug him.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, yeah. One of my favorite drummers is Danny Carey, and just like to be in the same stadium as him, I felt like an immense closeness because he's been in my dreams like on like 10 plus occasions.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, you'll probably meet him someday. That's how I would take that many dreams about someone.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I saw him play. I've never seen Tool, but like. He played the Taylor Hawkins tribute in LA, and I got to go to that. That's the best concert I've ever been to because it was 6 hours long, and one like he got to play a song, so I saw him drum. But one of my favorite moments from that concert, there's probably two favorite moments when some of the Queen guys came out and played. I think I forget which.
It's a song that Taylor always
It's
covers.
a song that Taylor covered.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything right now. But then Brian May played "Love of My Life" just acoustically, and like everyone was lighting up their phones, and they had a couple images of Taylor on the screen, and like that was Taylor and his wife's like wedding song, I guess. So
oh wow,
like lost it during that, and then like every time like a new singer or new band member would come out, Dave Grohl would introduce them, but like. What was cool is they kicked into a song and I was like, this is, you ought to know. I think Alanis is going to come out. And Alanis walked out, no introduction because none needed. And she, like, everyone in the place was standing. Everyone was singing along because everyone knows all the words to that song. And, like, the chills running up and down me were incredible. Man. And, like, after they did that, like, she and Dave embraced for, like, what seemed like forever. You know, it was... like I was bawling my eyes out after that. I was just like, ugh, God, why did he die? That sucks. But like, this is a very cool moment to tribute to him. So, like he had to have been there, you know, it was freaking cool. And like, you know, so like that's probably obviously the best concert I've ever been to, but like that is really special too. Yeah. So anyway.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I've got one more question for you.
Okay.
What is something absurd you love or do?
Anything absurd that I do?
Love or do. It could be like something you like that, I don't know.
Oh, man. Surely there's something absurd. I'm a fairly put together person, so like I don't know if I do too much of like off the wall things. Like I'm goofy, like, and like I think I'm hilarious, so like I laugh at my own jokes all the time. It's not really absurd, but absurd, man. Shoot, if I wish you asked me before the camera was rolling, because I probably could have thought of something. Damn.
I could give you an example.
Yeah, give me an example.
I love vacuuming.
Okay, that's weird, yeah. I love cleaning bathrooms. Hey. I like to see that sparkling clean, because like bathrooms are vile, we all know this, but like there's nothing better than like a really clean bathroom.
Yeah.
So I get the vacuuming thing. I find it therapeutic too, but like, okay, yeah. I like to clean. It's kind of absurd, but yeah. So like I like to clean bathrooms and like I just don't want to dust. Dusting sucks. Yeah. It's annoying. Yeah. It's always going to be there. Yeah, and I'm a meticulous kind of person, but like that's too far.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a bit absurd. Yeah.
Well, awesome, Angie. Thank you for coming over and doing this.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Absolutely.